Hi there, I'm Rashmi Ramesh from Information Security Media Group. Speaking with us today is Rashish Pandey, who is the Vice President of Marketing at Fortinet, and he brings his deep expertise in cybersecurity and technology leadership and is known for his understanding of global security trends. He works closely with enterprise communications to align strategy, resilience, innovation in an era defined by AI and digital transformation. So, Rashish, you've seen cybersecurity evolve over the years. Where do you see the threat landscape today?
First of all, thank you, Rashmi, for having me. I think it's getting fast and furious. Yeah, the threat landscape. We have never seen so much volumes as well as velocity of
Right.
threats come in, and it's being powered by largely AI. So there's a lot of AI-powered threats which are coming our way. And what's also happening on the customer side is customers are starting to go from pure digital transformation to AI-led transformation.
Right.
As they go on that journey, we see a lot more AI-powered threats attacking that infrastructure as well. That's what's happening at the surface level. Underlying infrastructure, if you look at it, we have seen apps infrastructure go all over the place, from your own private data centers to a SaaS provider to a third-party provider. Devices are all over the place. People are working from many, many different locations. What it has led to is an explosion is the overall attack surface as well. So volume go up, velocity go up, and attack surface go up. So you can imagine it's a particularly complex times for our customers.
So you have a bird's eye view of the whole operations, right? So how do you see companies, balancing the speed and the agility that AI gives and the risks that it has?
Yeah, so look, I mean, a good AI system needs to have two sides, right? First of all, you need to fight AI with AI or fight fire with fire. So any AI powered threats, you should be able to leverage AI to protect yourself from that.
Fair enough.
The second angle of that is protecting your AI infrastructure itself, right? So if you are using LLMs, if you are training a large set of models, you need to be able to protect that as you adopt AI as well. So both protecting AI from itself as well as protecting from AI powered threats are the two facets of the same story. Yeah?
And we see a lot of conversations and a lot of relationship building between CIOs and CISOs. So from your conversations with global leaders, how do you see that relationship evolving, and where do you still think there is friction?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation, right? CIO and CISOs in the past were kind of operating in two different worlds.
Yes.
For boards to see IT in general be successful, they are looking at a couple of things. First of all, they are looking at shared accountability between the CIOs as well as CISOs. Gone are the days where CIO was all about uptime and CISO was all about protection and risk and control, right? You need to have a shared view of what our accountability looks like, both across availability, innovation, as well as protection. The second thing that we see happening a lot is a shared set of platforms across both the CIO and the CISO worlds. Today, where we see frictions is largely when CIOs have a different set of tools, CISOs use a different set of tools, they don't talk to each other. Fortinet was founded on the principle that the world of networking and security are coming together. So our genesis lies in the fact that we have seen this shift happen between the CIO and the CISO worlds come together very, very importantly. And the last thing to keep in mind is both the CIO and CISO need to work towards furthering business objectives and not just managing their own tech infrastructure.
You mentioned board conversations, so that just makes me wonder what is keeping them up at night these days, and how is that sort of translating into everyday operations at the company?
I think we are at that stage where innovation and risk needs to go hand in hand.
Right.
You cannot be driving an AI strategy without thinking about cybersecurity for AI.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's keeping them awake at night is, first of all, are we managing for yesterday's threats and yesterday's threat landscape, or are we navigating for today's threat landscape? Number one. Number two, what keeps them up at night is the skills gap are they able to resource, especially on the CISO side of the house, enough people to manage the threat landscape? So skills gap is a real issue for all of them. And last but not the least, there is an emerging set of technologies coming with quantum happening that customers need to now forward think as well and says, how do I future proof my company for this post quantum world in which cybersecurity needs to operate?
So we're also seeing a lot of, industrial and operational systems coming online.
Yep.
So often maybe faster than you can mitigate the risks. So how should organizations manage that reality?
It's actually there are parallels between the CIO and the CISO conversation in the IT and the OT world.
Yeah.
You have to remember OT is mission critical. Yeah? An email system not working for a few hours is inconvenient. A factory shutting down for a few hours is a catastrophe.
Right.
The second thing you have to understand is many of these OT systems were not designed to work online. They were air gapped, kept separate from everything else. But with transformations across the digital infrastructure, a lot of these OT systems are actually coming online. The moment you connect something online, it will get attacked. So we need to design for a world where systems which were not meant to be online are now online. We need to design for the fact that platforms who are not talking to each other need to talk to each other. So what we call IT-OT convergence is basically a shared accountability, which I spoke about earlier, to say, can we manage the same platforms? Can the same platform manage both my IT system and the OT system to provide the level of segmentation, provide the level of visibility, provide the level of reporting that both these leaders need? So the way forward for OT is to work very closely with the IT infrastructure and be managed as one seamless fabric.
And none of this can move forward, backward, sideways, anywhere without regulations. So, if you just focus on, say, AI regulations in the IT/OT space or in the network space where you have expertise, every country has patchwork rules. So what applies here what applies in Singapore may not apply in the UK. So how do you sort of manage that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. Regulation. We are in Singapore. Singapore has got fabulous set of well thought through regulations, looking after critical infrastructure, for example, right? And AI is the next frontier we are talking about. The key thing to understand is with AI, governments are trying to manage a set of different priorities which can compete at times. How do you empower innovation while managing the risks? How do you give autonomy while making sure that the downsides of the technology are managed? Right? So in every country that we operate in, and we operate in 100 over countries, the key thing to understand is the future is a collaborative exercise that needs to be built up.
Yeah.
So if a government is looking to enact regulation, partnering with industry, partnering with academia, partnering with the entire ecosystem is very critical. We have a saying in the industry, good guys work together to make it success. Otherwise, bad guys will always work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we come together, we brainstorm to balance some of these competing priorities. And as Fortinet, what we then help organizations is once a compliance regulation is in place, how can you make sure that you are complying with the clauses of it, right? Because sometimes it can be very complicated to translate high level policies with low level technical design. And that's a gap that we are looking to bridge for our customers.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing your insights today, Rashish. It's been a pleasure speaking.
Thank you so much for having me, Rashmi.
We've been speaking with Rashish Pandey of Fortinet, and I'm Rashmi Ramesh for Information Security Media Group. Thank you so much for watching.